Hey friends, welcome. February 8th, 2025. What if Jesus were walking among us today? Not just in spirit, but in flesh. What if he stepped onto our streets, into our conversations, and into our struggles, meeting us exactly where we are? Each day this year, we will follow Jesus as if he were physically present in our modern world, moving through real places, meeting real people, and speaking eternal truths into today's culture. This is not just an exercise in imagination. However, it's an invitation to see our world through his eyes. Now today, we find Jesus in Austin, Texas. The city is alive with creativity, contradictions, ambition, and brokenness. Some will recognize him, some will turn away, but all who encounter him will be changed. Before the city fully wakes, Jesus finds a quiet place along Lady Bird Lake. A soft mist hovers over the water as the first rays of the sun stretch across the skyline. The Ann and Roy Butler hike and bike trail is mostly empty at this hour, aside from a few runners and early risers. Jesus kneels near the water, his hands resting on his thighs, eyes closed. His lips move in prayer, though no one hears the words but the Father. He lifts up the city, the hopeful and the hopeless, the rich and the poor, the seeking and the lost. A man on a bicycle slows down, curious. He's a local entrepreneur, a tech startup founder, known in Austin's business circles for his success. He built an empire, but his heart is restless. You pray like you actually expect someone to answer, he says, pausing next to Jesus. Jesus looks up at him with warmth. I do, and I know you've been waiting for answers too. The man hesitates. He hasn't told anyone, but he's been questioning everything lately. The meaning of his work, the point of success. How do you know that? He asks. Jesus stands and gestures towards the lake. Because when a man builds his life only on what he can achieve, he eventually realizes the house is empty. But when he builds it on something greater, it becomes a home. The entrepreneur doesn't say much else, but as he rides away, he keeps glancing back, deep in thought. The University of Texas at Austin campus is alive with energy on this day. Students crisscross the courtyards, backpacks slung over shoulders, coffee cups in hand. Conversations buzz with talk of exams, projects, and the future. Jesus stops near the UT Tower and begins to speak, not from a stage or behind a podium, but simply in a way that draws people in. A few students gather, intrigued by this stranger who seems so calm in the middle of their chaotic world. What does it mean to truly live? Jesus asks. A student wearing a philosophy department sweatshirt leans against a pillar. Living is about freedom, doing whatever makes you happy. Jesus nods. And has that worked for you? The student hesitates. Sometimes. Jesus continues. A man once found a hidden treasure in a field. He was so overjoyed that he sold everything to make it his. The question isn't whether you can do whatever you want. The question is, have you found something worth giving everything for? A young woman nearby who's been struggling with depression scribbles the words, "What is worth everything," in her notebook. She doesn't approach Jesus, but the seed is planted. As students continue walking by, a few remain, asking more questions. A professor, listening from a distance, takes a note, planning to bring the discussion into his next class. Jesus leaves downtown Austin and travels northeast to Community First Village, a place dedicated to helping those who have experienced chronic homelessness rebuild their lives. Here, tiny homes line the walkways, gardens flourish, and volunteers work side by side with residents, restoring dignity and hope. Jesus steps into this space not as an outsider, but as one who sees beyond circumstances. Ray, a man in his 60s, is sanding down a wooden bench outside his home. His hands are rough from years of hardship. Jesus picks up another sanding block and kneels beside him. Ray looks at him amused. "You don't look like a carpenter." Jesus chuckles. "You'd be surprised." They work together for a while in silence before Ray sighs. "People look at us here and think we'll never be more than what we were, like we'll always just be the homeless." Jesus stops sanding and looks at Ray with deep kindness. "Ray, do you know how God sees you? Not as a problem to be solved, but as a son who has come home." Ray swallows hard. "A son?" Jesus nods. "Yes, and a beloved one." For the first time in years, Ray's eyes fill with tears, not of sorrow, but of hope. And before leaving, Jesus eats lunch with the community, sitting among them, listening, laughing, reminding them that they are not forgotten. As the sun sets, 6th Street comes alive. Neon lights flicker on, music pours from bar doors, and crowds fill the sidewalks. Jesus walks through it, not in condemnation, but in compassion. A young woman in high heels leans against a wall, wiping away smudged mascara. She just left a bar, her heart heavy from another night of searching for love in all the wrong places. "You look like you don't belong here," she says, eyeing Jesus. He tilts his head slightly. "And you? Do you belong here?" She laughs bitterly. "I don't even know where I belong anymore." Jesus steps closer, his voice gentle but firm. "You were never meant to search for love in places that cannot give it." She looks away, her throat tightening. "I don't know how to believe that." Jesus doesn't push. He simply says, "You will." The words stay with her long after the night is over. As the city slows, Jesus finds his way to Mount Bonnell, the highest point in Austin. The city lights stretch before him, a reflection of both beauty and brokenness. He kneels once again. "Father, I have walked through this city today. I have seen the restless and the weary, the hopeful and the lost. I lift them up to you. May they come to know the love that has always been waiting for them." He watches the skyline for a while, his heart full of love for those who don't yet know how loved they truly are. Tomorrow will be another day, another city, another chance for the world to meet him anew. So, Today we saw Jesus walk through Austin, and it was beautiful. We watched him listen, speak, heal, and serve. Some who met him were ready, some were not, but no one left unchanged. Where will he be tomorrow? Who will he speak to next? Come back tomorrow and let's see what happens next. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. When you do, you'll get a little notification that makes you aware I've posted a new video. Some days I post 2 videos, some days I post 6. I can't wait to share what I'm inspired to share with you. Friends, don't forget to hug your family because they love you, and I care about you as well. Before you leave, I'd like to offer you a prayer for the hopes, needs, and intentions that you're holding in your heart today. Are you ready? I'll lead. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Amen, my friends. That was beautiful. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back with another great story of Jesus' progression across this beautiful country, and I just can't wait to see you. Take care. Bye-bye.